1.5 trillion to be exact. And scientists now know these microbes are just as important to our survival as our human cells. I'm not entirely against antibiotics. However, Professor Blazer speculates that the widespread use of antibiotics has altered the intestinal microbiome, and that this change may explain rising levels of childhood obesity. I completely agree. And this has been happening for decades. Many of these children are adults today. As Professor Blazer states in Scientific American, we have a whole generation of children growing up without H. pylori to regulate gastric ghrelin. When your ghrelin goes unregulated, you never feel full. It's that simple. You feel hungry longer and eat more than you should. It's clear evidence that a lack of good microbes could be making you gain weight. To make things worse, in your gut also live what I call bad microbes, or as I like to think of them, bad bugs. They consist of things like yeast, fungus, molds, and bacteria. One of the better known bad bugs is called a candida, and it's perfectly normal to have a few bad bugs down there. That's the way ecosystems work. And normally, your good microbes keep them in check. But when you wipe out our good microbes with antibiotics, or Splenda, or eating antibiotic-treated meat, the bad bugs start to go wild. And soon, you have more bad bugs down there than good microbes. How can this further affect your weight management? Well, the bad bugs can send messages to your brain also. They hijack your vagus nerve, which is the direct connection between your gut and your brain. And then they start sending messages to your brain to eat the foods that they want to eat. And can you guess what kind of foods these bad bugs love? Sugars, refined carbohydrates, processed foods, and saturated fats. In other words, all of the things that make us fat. And the messages that they send our brains are incredibly powerful. Have you ever found yourself looking at a dessert and said, just one bite, but then you ate the whole thing? If so, consider the fact that it wasn't just you that wanted that dessert. I tell my patients, it's like the movie Little Shop of Horrors, where the plant wants to be fed blood. And he keeps saying to Seymour, the shopkeeper, "Feed me, Seymour, feed me." Well, that is essentially what the bad bugs are saying to your brain. Feed me, feed me. But not to feed them veggies or lean proteins or good fats. Oh no. They tell your brain to feed them more junk. The end result? We end up eating a bunch of crap. And it's not even our fault. I know, because it happened to me. Heck, it happens to a lot of us. Look at this chart of the rising obesity rate in America. If you found yourself reaching for pastas, breads, sugars, and sweets, or said yes, or said sweets, sugars, and breads, pasta, found yourself in America. Rate in America. If you found yourself reaching for pastas, breads, sugars, and sweets, or said yes to a dessert when you know you should have said no, it's not your fault, and you are not alone. In a landmark study conducted in 2014 and published that August in the science journal Bioessays, researchers from UC San Francisco, Arizona State University, and the University of New Mexico all agreed on this unanimously. They released a statement that rocked the medical community. After all, it's not often that three separate universities agree on anything. Here's what they said. Microbes influence human eating behavior and dietary choices to favor consumption of the particular nutrients they grow best on, rather than simply passively living off whatever nutrients we choose to send their way. Now, that's a bit scientific, so let me translate it into simpler words. Bad bugs can influence your food choices. And this is not just a theory. We now have real scientific proof. So if you've ever told yourself you would eat good one day, and then you caved in and ate something you shouldn't, now you know why. You see, the message bad bugs send to your brain is an irresistible message. And the more bad food you give them, the more insatiable they get. Sugars, carbs, fried foods, fast food, sweets, pizza, pasta, potato chips, sodas. There are literally trillions of these bad bugs down there, and they want their bad foods. And as Carl O'Malley, PhD and director of the UCSF Center for Evolution and Cancer, recently stated, bacteria within the gut are manipulative. There is a diversity of interests represented in the microbiome, some aligned with your own dietary goals and others not. And of course, The more the bad bugs eat, the more they breed. Left unchecked, they begin spilling out of your digestive tract into other areas of your body. This can result in all sorts of problems, from yeast infections to skin breakouts to gas, bloating, indigestion, and of course, weight gain. For example, here is a specific bad bug that has been linked to weight gain. This bad bug is called Methanobrevibacter